Slow mo.
He's got me walking that grief one.
Going slow mo.
He's got me talking that grief tongue.
Going slow mo.
He's got me clocking the
It's the Miami Knight Show.
hey, yeah.
Slow mo.
He's got me walking that grief one.
Going slow mo.
He's got me talking that grief tongue.
Going slow mo.
He's got me clocking the
What up, tribe? It's Miami Knight, your master grief coach. Welcome to the Miami Knight Show. He got me walking that grief walk. It's time for grief talk, y'all.
I talk about things you think about.
It's Miami Knight, your master grief coach.
What's up, Grief Nation listeners? It's your girl, Miami Knight, your master grief educator and trainer. Today, I'm coming to you to share a special cause, which is coming up this weekend, which is Taiki, Mr. Slugmo Douglas' 26th birthday. Yay! I'm so excited because this year I wanted to honor him in a huge way. And what better way to do it with the Gun Violence Memorial Project? I'm going to be explaining what that entails, how you can also submit something to the Memorial Project, as well as why this is a great cause. Taiki's album is called 1868. That was 1,868 days from my son tragically being shot in 2011 until he ended his life by way of firearm suicide in 2017. So I wanted to just share his collective work of art and how amazing he was and brilliant as a rapper. So Grief Nation listeners, I wanted to come and talk to you today about Taiki's story. I wanted to have the opportunity to be able to share with you. A part of my advocacy work now is sharing the story and giving people the opportunity to know the effects of gun violence and how transparent a person can become after losing someone so tragically. On Saturday, December 17, 2011, I received the most devastating phone call from my sister in Pensacola, Florida, stating that my 17-year-old son, Taiki Douglas, had been shot and was critically injured. As the evening progressed, I learned that my son's best friend for over 15 years had also been shot, but he tragically didn't survive. As you can imagine, this double shooting, it tormented both of the families. One mother was left to mourn the loss of her son, and of course I was trying to prepare for the unknown. Taiki survived his injuries, fueled by this hate of urban street beef. For 5 years he lived with a traumatic brain injury where the bullet remained lodged in order to prevent paralysis. Due to the traumatic event, Taiki suffered from several mental health conditions such as survivor's remorse, PTSD, anxiety, and depression. On January 27, 2017, being only 22 years old, Taiki ended his life by way of suicide with a firearm. Taiki was a very loving young man, known to his family and his friends as the lyrical genius, Mr. Slug Mode. In honor of Taiki's legacy, I started a network of bereavement recovery services to educate and to bring awareness. I share early intervention and preventable measures to help individuals address matters on how to grieve well. That is so important to me. You see, gun violence is a public health crisis. It affects parents, siblings, grandparents, the extended family, our communities, school, workspaces, churches, and our military bases, unfortunately. It's been an honor, of course, to speak to you in regards to this, and it's an additional pleasure to bring awareness to the several acts of gun violence that affect our communities each day, like gun suicide and city gun violence, intentional gun homicide, domestic violence, robbery and assault, accidental firearm deaths, and mass shootings. I'm forever grateful, you guys, for the opportunity to always share Taiki's story and to give light to all others that lives have been changed, forever in a result to this epidemic. So I just thank you for allowing me to be your host to share Taiki's story, because it's so important to me. So what better way than to showcase his brilliant masterpiece through an outlet that talks and speaks to what I'm currently going through as a mother and also as an advocate. And there are other moms that I know that are along this gun violence prevention movement that have also given to this same project. And I just thought, hey, finally let me do something just as amazing. And I was very unsure at first, initially, like, what should I do? Because I have so many great things that reminds me of Taiki. And so I just had a conversation with my husband one night, and I'm like, I don't know what thing to submit. And he was like, of course, it's music. And I was like, duh. Right. You're absolutely right, honey. Sometimes, I just, I can't think of it all, and I don't do it all by myself. I have my amazing family that supports me, and shouts out to my daughter, British Mendoza, for creating the artwork for Taiki's album cover, and I truly appreciate her for that. It has been some time that I've been constantly thinking about what should I name this album, and as I have been preparing for National Gun Violence Survivor Week, I had to constantly tell my story over and over, and there was just this time period on this sheet of paper for me to constantly just remember those 2 paragraphs, and it was from when he initially was shot and until he ended his life, and that was what really gave me the know-how of, gosh, this was really this many days that I had with my son. And that's where 1868 come from, the 1868 days. And I just commend myself for even being able to digest that, feel that in my spirit and my soul, because that doesn't seem like a lot of time, 1,000 days. But as I look back at the time, that flew by so fast, 5 years. Wow, he got so much accomplished in that time frame. So I thought it was very prevalent for us to talk about that, and some of the things that he was able to do in that time period. Taiki really, came back from such a horrible tragedy. It was very difficult for him to move forward. He tried, everything to his ability, and that's why I'm just so here. That's why I'm really wanting to help people and support them during times of loss and grief, and how they can find other ways to heal themselves. And my work comes from my pain of losing my son, and I'm very focused just on supporting people through that. So this memorial wall is a built space, and it hopes to foster a national healing process that brings with a recognition of the collective losses and its impact on society. You can read all this information on the Gun Violence Memorial Project.org. The installations in Chicago and also Washington, D.C. I think that's where it's headed next, because they have already had it showcased in Chicago this year. So I just wanted to kind of read over some of the things that you would have to do for the contribution, so there you have it. So that's the information about the Gun Violence Memorial Project. And I'm so excited, you guys, that you were here to listen to me rant today about how amazing Taiki Mr. Slug Mode Douglas is, and how happy I am to be able to do this on his 26th birthday. Your objects are meaningful and representation of your loved one, and passion or personality. Photos can be included to complement this object. The property or the guardianship of the individual sign the waiver and releases the object. It cannot contain any perishable, combustible, light emitting, or highly flammable substances. Do not include personal identifiable information such as phone number, mailing, or email address. Do not contain any malicious, threatening, illegal, graphic, abusive, offensive, or otherwise inappropriate content, or promote or advocate illegal activity. You cannot include names or images of perpetrators. I'm sorry, I don't even know if I said the right sign. It sounded like it came out wrong. But anyway, do not lead a viewer to experience mental or psychological, emotional, or physical harm. So those are some of the criteria for the project that in your submission. There are several locations that are coming up to collect these events, and there's Philadelphia, Washington, Detroit, and also Miami, Florida. So or you can just mail it in. That's a good way to be able to make sure that it's in. You can have your own tracking number and everything like that. So there's a waiver, there's a loaner waiver that you would also have to sign. But this is a great cause, you guys, for if you have a loved one. And I think it's clearly states that the property it has to be from even the guardian of the individual that is signing the waiver. So that's kind of very important, and it has to make sure that it fits those dimensions, because it's, like I said, it's a glass brick wall, and so your item has to be able to fit within those constraints of the brick. So let's see what else is here. The National Building Museum. So that's where it will be in Washington from April 2020 through May 2021. Oh, wow. So Monday through Saturday is where you can view it from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Well, there you have it, Grief Nation listeners, and thank you so much for tuning in to another transformative segment. It's been a joy to spend some time with you as you have allowed me to express my unique grief journey and ways of understanding healing. This is your girl, Miami Knight, sending you lots of love and light until we connect again spiritually.